I marketed to Polk County here in Florida, and I think I sent 6,000 mailers out. This was a year ago, almost exactly. And that mailer, I probably got out of 6,000, I got 0.5% response, so maybe 30 responses. One deal came back where my mail, it was funny, it actually offered like 63,000. And the guy talked himself down. I don't know why he had this figure in his mind, but he basically said, I will give you this parcel for, it was like, I'll give you this parcel for 48. He like instantly took off $15,000. And I was like, so we got it signed. And the funny thing is, looking back, he probably thought I'd get in this sucker because there's a gas easement that ran through the property. And I don't think he was able to do anything with the parcel simply because, one, the gas easement, but two, it was 4.98 acres, and the zoning required 5 acres to be buildable. So he probably ran into an issue where he was like, "This isn't even buildable land. I'm going to get $50,000 for my land because this sucker doesn't realize it." So during due diligence, and because of my job, so actually two things: one, the sense of urgency, but two would be the networking and the connections I have in Florida. That's part of the reason why I stick to Florida. Is I doing what I do. I talk to a lot of people in planning and zoning departments. So I work with planning and zoning in Polk County extensively for my day-to-day job. So I called the head guy, right? Instead of going to the typical person that picks up the phone as the technician that'll help you answer some questions and stuff, I know the director. So I called the director, said, "Hey, is there anything you can do to help me out with this?" And he was like, "Yeah, let me take a quick look." And he found that it was actually a vested lot of record. So basically, it was still eligible to be built, but it required a letter from the county. And usually, you have to pay like the $250. They have to give you a formal thing. You have to wait 3 weeks. He just sent me a quick email and said, "Hey, you're good to go. It's a vested lot of record, blah, blah, blah." So that was awesome. And I was like, "Oh, it's buildable." And then I found the survey on the property records, and the survey was directly off to the side. It was perfect. It was probably like 4.5 acres were buildable. It took up half an acre. So it was not an issue at all. So I had the funds required to take it down myself. And I really wanted to because I had high conviction in it. And my wife wouldn't let me. She wanted more of the proof of concept first. And I think a lot of us investors run into that. So I said, all right, no problem. And at the time, I was very heavily involved in Pete Reese's forum on school, the land conquest. And so I was actually his first full cycle funding where he funded it and it closed. So he funded it for me. We did the half split on that. But going back to the original question of what translates from my original job, it's that always pushing, always finding those answers when it comes to dealing with my site contractors, right? I never take their answers at immediate face value. It's always pushing to find that next answer, get somebody who's going to say yes, figure out a way around it, don't give up. There's a lot of just testimony out there on all different kinds of land forums of how people found another way. They gave up, the contract was canceled, they somehow figured out how to get it done, and they got it done. And I think that's probably one of the big gaps that I see with folks that come in. Sometimes when you haven't had a lot of experience in life with just persevering through no matter what and just figuring it out no matter what and having that mentality, it's really easy to just going to throw in the towel on this one, throw in the towel on that one, contracts canceled. You can't really have to have that grit to make it as an entrepreneur. So I think that experience from just being a project manager day to day really translates well to having that grit on the entrepreneurial side. And then my second answer would be the networking connections, absolutely, because that definitely helped on my first deal. Yeah.
I can see that networking. Actually, a lot of people, developers I've talked to, talk about their knowing people in the county or knowing the county and how it operates really well.